Lordvolkhark here, back on. It's been a little while. I actually had a failure last video we tried to do. By the way, that's what I've been doing actually is research of liquid cooling and versus air coolers. So that's actually been some research because I've been arguing with myself about my parts I want to put internally in my own system. Go ahead and go to the dashboard here so I can actually show that I'm live. Hide that because it's already showing that I'm active. I'd switch to playing, not playing, and work that title even. I'm gonna put this back at 5 because I didn't get to finish out last time on 5 because we were having some reality issues of stuff. So let's go ahead and update, and bam, that's right there. So guys, what are we going to talk about today? We're actually going to talk about our actual individual parts and what I found out in the remainder of my parts as they come in, or as I discover what I really need for my actual build. And this is a build blog for the computer. So let's go ahead and go through. So I found my power supply, which adjust the page a little bit. Nope, there I am. The HCG 900 or dash 900 from Antec, which is kind of funny because of a few of my devicings might be coming from Antec a little bit more. So yeah, I actually found this charger or the power source a while ago, but I actually didn't know that this would be the one I would use. I saw it and happened to look at it and go, oh, that's pretty cool. In Altex. Hey guys from Altex. And just happened to go through. Matter of fact, I think it's probably in my video for Altex in the review. And I realized that it was a perfect power source for me. Now, it's a 900 watt power source. Actually, continuous watt power for 900. You can see the actual crossfire and everything else reference. Now, the quad current rail 12 rails. Now, I've read a lot about different rail systems, and it's very interesting. And I've read a lot and seen a lot of review for referencing. When you actually look at rail systems definition, sometimes they don't actually have the rails that they refer to, and they do. So when I did a mass review run through, found out actually that it only has a 2-rail system. And that has had some failure listings, but not for the heavy reviewers when they actually ran this through on different purposes. Got a 5-year guarantee for warranty, so let's hope it definitely works out for what I need it. Now, the weird thing for me was when I actually decided to look a little bit closer, the fan on it is a 135 millimeter fan, which all my other fans were 120 millimeter on at least this current power source in this PC over here. The new one is a little bit odd. It still works. I've also heard that it's got a low voltage setting, which is even referenced on the actual page right here for lower voltage, so that means it can stop cooling. Probably will never really do that because I prefer the air to roll out. Now, it's been having some through a few of the reviewers that say, yes, when you lay it down on its back, which is a common way you mount them in, the fan apparently makes a clicking noise, which is fixed apparently by some people going in and just kind of shifting it, and it stops the clicking noise. Whatever was mounted upside down, for some reason the fan was perfectly fine. Same thing for a reference for the side. So my actual case, side-mounted fan, is going to be side-mounted. So felt comfortable with that. Sound-wise, some people were like, "Oh, well, it vibrates or it whistles a little bit," in the sense of electricity current goes across and vision and yada yada yada. It's not an impossibility. I've had a few of my current systems make noise between the one that is actually older, the original E machine, which is the one that is common household right now. And in my gaming one, when she definitely shows some heat, definitely tell that is some component wine. Now, of course, over voltage protection and so yada yada yada. I mean, it's all there. But what I actually, and that, by the way, that's a comment. What I actually decided to go looking for was my chipsets. By the way, let's switch over to where you can get a better view. Loading cam, loading cam. This poor cam is so abused, and it is very, very old. And go, very, very old cam, but it still works. Hey, that's me. All right, so my chipset, my Intel Core i7. It's actually the i7 with the and unlock power, by the way, is legitimate for its actual term on this box. There we go. i7 5K. Oh, sorry. i7 5820K, which actually means it's a unlock modular for the LG 2011 E chipsets, which means I can pretty much boost it to a foot of power. Now, its actual power requirements have been 140 volt is automatic requirement. Thankfully, the power source that I found is 150 that you can actually go through your setup right. So it's 140. Or you can overvolt onto it and just be like, let's see what it does. Um, which would mean I need to look a little closer at my actual cooling, which I have done. That's actually why I've been doing some of the research, water cooling versus air cooling, and then we'll talk about that in a minute. Go back to the original page, and we're going to show you the actual layout for the power source, or the output table, what they like to call it. By the way, if you ever see a power supply for a PC and they do not have power table laid out on the box, don't buy it. There's a reason that they're not showing it off. And so far, in all research that I've been doing to try to find my actual power source, every time it's way lower than what I need, and way lower than what I'm normal. Looking at normality requirements, and I'm like, what the hell? And so that's why they've got to be hiding them. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to the normal page. And there I am in the corner again. All right, so this is the actual page, and this is the actual table of contents for your actual voltages and everything else. Now, let's can't find it to give you good references. Real output is just saying 850, even though it's reading for a 900. I bet you it can probably get close to over voltage on it to about 900 watts. I won't require that. Matter of fact, it will probably pull them a lot more from the wall than what I need. But possibly over time, I can add enough that actually equals it out. Or I can just have a, insanely more power than I actually need coming to my device. Now you can even see the sound is rated on these individual ratings, voltage outputs, and for me, sound is not an issue. Now max is definitely something I want to look at, mostly because, well, since your power source could be your giant bomb in your system, slash the reason it all turned to a pile of burning mesh, you really want to check and make sure that this equals out for your motherboard, your chipset, and your graphics card. And for what I needed for my actual older graphics card, my newer motherboard, the chipset, even the hard drives, all looked about right. I'm still actually, working in my black book of, regulation for what I need, but pretty sure I've got it damn right. Now, let's go over my motherboard. Well, since we found the power source, I decided to look back at my motherboard a little bit closer and actual references. What I gained that I didn't know, and also to make sure that I was right in some of the math that I was doing for the actual power source and else. I happened to catch a few different things. there were some benefits and there was some stupid loss, or just some small things that I was like, well, I don't really need that, but thank you for throwing it in there. And I thought I would share it with you guys. Yes, I found my power source, and that's even more a step. Might have found my cooler, and we'll talk about that closer toward the end of this actual run. Checking the time. All right, so let's switch. So this is my actual motherboard. Now, it took me a little while to actually find from Asus the motherboard's website specific, because the actual DIY scannable, which is on the motherboard's actual pamphlet, not exactly your best you're ever given. What I did find out is, well, first of all, you really have to go through the site. These referencing for, okay, they changed the site around. Oh no, they didn't. Same one. All right. Now the referencing and everything through it had to go through their product. And actually, it was on Mizzou's main website, which is a little bit more of a pain in the ass to go through. That's why I just saved the link directly to my. So you're actually looking at the motherboard's legitimate website, the LGA socket reference, 99X, Intel, stress chipset. Now, what really drew my interest was that it had an M.2 port. And I just kind of looked at it and was like, wait, I think I know what that means. So, of course, looked it up on Wikipedia to make sure I was right. M.2 is an older form factor that actually has been pretty much eliminated thanks to PCI Express 3, SATA ATA 3, which pretty much kicked it in the pants. But M.2 is viable on some uses. Its original use things actually adding connectors, which are connectors, or my benefit, I directly to the motherboard SSD like memory or an SSD straight up to the motherboard. Now, running it directly to the motherboard will give it a faster response time, but the problem is all the SSDs that I was looking at, even at that moment, I mean, it was ungodly price to get in the 500 gig margin, like I already had for the Trident that I found. Trident that I have for the solid state that's 512 gigs. Why is this an issue? Well, price-wise, it means I would have to spend more money for something that I'm not ensuring will definitely work for my devicing. Definitely work for my devicing. But, surprisingly enough, I'm going to keep up and look through and make sure that the M.2 would actually be something that makes logical sense. If it really does look like it would be a benefit, I might just decide to shove it over into my system. Take the Trident and put it into my current PC, which is my gaming PC, as the boot drive for 500 gigs. I have a mechanical drive, and it works pretty damn well, but it has been ramped a lot. So if I put it underneath programming, all the programming directly on it, and then keep all the gaming on the mechanical, it might improve its little bit of lifespan. Now, if I decide that the M.2 is not going to work for my motherboard, and maybe I can just use access, higher level programming, not games, or I could technically games in my hybrid drive that I do have for the 4 terabyte hybrid drive. A lot of options I didn't even notice, or I really didn't know. The benefit when I actually looked at the page directly from the company, instead of gone through the many different reviewers, the many different sales pages, ungodly amount of information that I finally found and laid out, and there were small things that just stated me. When I looked closer at their actual selling points, it gave me a little bit more. Now the overclocking armor does come with it. Where is it? This sound. Oh, that is actually another issue. Now, one thing that I did not see that was a benefit was something referring to the sound. And when I looked at it, I was a little bit lost trying to figure out what the hell are they talking about. Now, what I saw the definition for a sound connector or a sound build directly onto the motherboard just kind of sounded logical. I was like, who wouldn't kind of been sound into there? Why the hell not? What it turns out is their selling point is something that never really comes up as importance for my sound output. Here it is. Actually found it. Now their audio outputs have a reference for something that I normally don't like, which is virtual surround sound. Now they like to call it Sonic Studio with virtual sound, which is a definition of virtual surround sound. Now this is a failure flaw on my motherboard, or at least their sales point. They try to tell me that virtual surround sound, and they have the multiple settings, by the way, for FPS 1, 2, and then fighting, and then sports apparently 4. You can actually do a debug, or you can automatically set the sound settings. An LED onto the that you can shift in between. Not a big issue manually, but I'm going to keep one because I am a first-person shooter. Now here's the odd thing. They had videos directly implanted into their website. HTML is awesome. Much as, Flash apparently rocks for Twitch, HTML rocks a lot better whenever you run anything else. Checking one thing. Making sure you guys aren't chatting or anybody wants to actually speak. Now, what is weird is when you turn on this video, you get the option to turn on and off the sound or virtual surround sound. And they say right here, let me scroll up so it's not underneath my face. You plug in your 2.0 channeled headset, and the virtual surround sound will work. Now, when I looked at this, I was like, so wait, virtual surround sound, which I know to be a programming scale to actually just bump up the sound. I'm not an audiophile, but I know it's just a massive bump up on the voltage to go through the sound. They're definitely revealing that it's a programming thing. Now that only took me a few minutes because I was running the video and I was like, wait, turn it on and off, turn it on and off. I was like, wait, that's working on my current headphones. My Tridents that are, guaranteed years old. Why would it work more better or, better improvement on a motherboard? It wouldn't. It's a programming scale. Then I looked at my own PC sound and found out that I was already doing that whenever I ran my motherboard during gaming, and I went, oh, well then, the hell would they make this a selling point? So Zeus, hey guys, not best run market. It was kind of funny to watch that I could do that programming older motherboard, yet here you are taking pride in the Rampage V Extreme for the Sonic Studio setup that you supposedly say is going to be my sound base. Now, there's one thing they look like they're going to throw me. There's Sonic Radar, which I don't know how this works out either. I guess you could have the screen, full size, and supposedly up here in the corner will be a radar system that, says, oh, look, the sound came from behind you, and that way you'll know. So it's kind of they're throwing at me with the motherboard, and again, it's programming scale. Go underneath the settings, it's just understanding, hey, respond, or, this is supposed to be for the outlay for surround sound, but hey, since you check sound over here, let him know that it's over here. So I can hunt better on FPS games, but I was like, wow, that is really kind of a aimless. You can actually set it to individual games, but God, that's like so. So we already got that through. Got the M.2 that we found out. Let's move on. Cooling system. Now I went through videos as you saw on YouTube right there. So Awesome Sauce Network. He was a really good outlay for this same information. The problem is apparently videos from him once I'm in his video, set of videos about the same information. Whenever I would look it up, Most people just automatically went liquid, liquid. Well, this guy actually gave me some out. He gave me two sides. Why? Because he gave me a middle ground to actually look at. Now, he said by price range, you're actually looking pretty good if you're going air cooling. Yeah, $91 versus the 140 that I've seen some of the liquid. He got that pretty much right. That's also why I kind of got drawn more to air cooling. Now, this is the Nokia, which is one kind of looked at and expensive for dollars in personal opinion. Then there's this guy, which is the other one. When I put on actually for ask for some people, hey, do you have information on? And a few other forums, Plantex CPU cooler was actually referenced, or Plantex here. It's got a 6-pipe system. Oh, sorry, got a 5-pipe system. Well, it's got better control, but it's got a 40 millimeter fan set, and the actual one I was looking at, actual NH15 Nokia, which by the way they have a new one Nokia. I looked at it, but I don't think I'll be having an issue with RAM placement. Just because I can see I can move the fans up, and I have a very large case. Now, as well as they reference this guy right here. This is actually more on the more expensive. It's more interesting appearance, especially if people were telling me, hey, if you're gonna, might as well go for something definitely gonna be looking pretty damn sweet case. Also, apparently has a besides just cool rating, but also rating for life. Now the problem is I know Nokia does lifetime guarantee, so I really didn't look at a loss. But apparently these individual cell sets, actually here, this one, the individual cell sets in this guy, which is from Plantech, are closer together, which means they actually force the air down the same tube in a better degree of response. While these have the wider fins across themselves. There we go. See the wider fins across themselves, which could mean that air moves a lot better. Like hiding that. But I kind of got a 50-50 on filling off of that by looking over the fans. Now, the one good thing that I did get referenced was that yes, water cooling can show a lot of higher end sound for if you're doing some really high end burning through your chip or boosting through your chip. I've been word a day, so apologize, guys. Now, the problem is the $120, $140 liquid cooling kits aren't even the ones that he's guaranteeing would work better. And he made a very good point. They're closed loops that you buy automatically, they're closed and everything else, but they're actually not the best. You've admitted that the open loop ones, the ones that people build into water cooling blocks, a lot of those would be really great, but the problem is they even have degradation. They require a lot more to put the effort toward to put in a lot more money across the board, and they are not guaranteed a long lifespan just because of liquid can break down their actual sets. The liquid over time can deal inside of the actual source, and it can vaporize, which actually is because he mentioned that it could vaporize in your liquid cooling set, which is something I've got to check for the current one I'm using right now because it is 5 years old. I know it's doing a pretty damn good job, but if it really has vaporized, I could tell you that might be why I'm having a sound issue. Now, when you use fan sets, it's a lot easier, but he mentioned another part, which is honest about liquid cooling. The open or the tubes that you do directly are really out of the way when you put in system, put in the actual cooling. You pretty much just put this one little block directly onto your actual CPU. and then the tubes run off out of the way of the RAM, while these systems sit directly on the RAM or in your RAM's way. For higher scale RAM, Corsair, Vengeance, a little bit high scale, not too much, but there's some heater conductors that I could buy and actually put onto these, but it looks like their price range is above what I'd be. Now, with that said, it means that this RAM has a lot of potential to get blocked out just by my cooling set if I use air cooling. So there's pros and cons to this system. There's a lot of potential of good and there's a lot of potential of loss. But he does admit, and I admit because I'm looking at the ratings and going through all the different individual ratings before I do a buy, that air cooling really looks like for my case a benefit. Despite the fact that I'm going to have to do some modifications to the metal front case piece and the bottom metal pieces for the fan sets to pull in, there'll be a higher airflow probability through my system. Even my water cooling block over here on the other side actually is in the back, and I had to add an extra fan to increase airflow throughout the case, which actually caused a cooling effect to double. Which tells you even another problem. Radiators are great, but without a high airflow that goes through the system, all you're doing is heating and just propagating that air. Your dust movement is lower, which, I will do a dust job even on this one after running it after I did a major clean and added the secondary, the third and then fourth fan into this system that I personally added. Well, actually, first and second fan that I personally added into the one I'm using right now. Now, the increased airflow definitely showed results. Whenever you see me lean over in some gamings, I'm checking to see if I can actually feel the heat because I don't have heat sensors in this desktop. I probably will rig that up because I'll get it used to it in the newer desktop. Now, when I check the back in the recent 6 or 7 months that I've had the new fans in, on a push and pull and a fan that is running from the bottom up, good lord, I haven't had a heat bill in days. I mean, I can run for about 5 to 6 hours and I really don't feel any heat differential coming out the back port unless it's near the actual power source. That means the air is definitely flowing in, a lot better into it. I boast that that is actually a good proven point that, airflow is a very essential thing. So yes, you can, water cool the shit out of your case, but if you can't provide the good airflow, the system is only just flounder and choke. So on both scales, I feel pretty good about actually doing an air-cooled system. That's what I'm going to end up doing. The Noctua fans, it looks like the ones that I'm going for. There's a lot of potential for a switch around to these other companies because the major issues, really they kind of draw my attention, especially by referencing. It looks like the fins and the connectors, even this actually easy connection right there, as you see the springs that go down, are really easy to do. I can't get that. Say, really easy to do and a lot better security across that. When I do my Noctias, apparently Noctias, no. Well, Noctias do the same springs. What am I talking about? Wow. Again, this is unscripted, guys. When I do my Noctias, I'm actually not seeking silence. I'm actually seeking higher pressure rating. So when I'm going through and reading, I am looking for a higher pressure rating. Not looking for silence. I am looking for a really, really good air mount through. So because of that, I feel a lot better with actually this expensive kit than I do anything else. So all of that laid out, that's my build. That's my current stance on my build, and that is my current belief in my system and what I am reviewing and been up to. I have my power source. I am very, very certain of what I am doing for the CPU cooling, and I'm very, very certain about what is in the last steps of my. I will be adding 7 more fans, plus the one I already bought that's actually from Best Buy. Will not be buying another one of the Best Buys because I found one for $7.99 off of Newegg. Now, the 7 fans will be a beginning source, but the CPU cooler will come first. Then the 7 fans, and I will actually do a activation for the whole kit. I will start doing an actual live feed for everything, and right after that, man, I should start really building. With all that said, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will be uploading this to YouTube, so go check out there as well. I do use Twitch for both a live feed on gaming and a live feed on my build. Much people actually been sending me messages about, hey, maybe you should just stick to doing a live feed for gaming, which is an open possibility for a lot of different things. So I will be doing a lot of different things that go along. Talking about gaming, talking about building, and I will be talking about engineering and otherwise. Mostly because, you know what, I like it. And this is my page. Love you guys for coming in. Enjoy that you guys stay. Again, check me out, Lord Volkhark on YouTube, and you have a wonderful day.